Good evening, everyone. It is 7 o'clock. I'll call the meeting to order. Before we adopt the agenda, it's not usual, but we have an addition. With your permission, I would like to add under new business 13.2, motion to name community members on the Equity and Accessibility Committee. With that addition, we need a motion to adopt the agenda, moved by Councillor Hill, seconded by Cooper. All those in favor? Against? Motion carried. Item 3, declaration of conflict of interest. Does anybody have a conflict on an item on the agenda? No. So we are at item 4. We have no presentations this evening. Item 5, adoption of the minutes. 5.1, March 18, 2026, the regular council meeting. Did you have a chance to look at the minutes? I would like to make the motion that we accept the minutes, moved by Councillor DeVoe, seconded by Conseiller Como. All those in favor? Against? Motion carried. 5.2, April 1st, 2026, we had a committee in council meeting. Did you have a look at those meetings to see if we have any errors? Anybody want to make the motion? I would like to make the motion to adopt the minutes of the Committee of Council Minutes. Moved by Councillor Como, seconded by Councillor Conseiller Cooper. All those in favor? Against? Motion is carried. Item 6. Business arising from previous council meetings. There is nothing there. Item 7 is my report. On March 19th, I attended at the announcement of the modernization of the Marc Lescarbot Hall. They showed the plans for the first phase of the project. It will be good. They will improve the lights and the sounds. It's a nice little project. There were some members of the council there. On March 21st, I met with the representatives of the Havelock meeting for a new fire hall and community center for Havelock, and looking at where the people are at. They are getting bigger for their present hall, so we need to get the ball rolling. On April 1st, I attended a meeting of the nomination committee of the Governor's Council of St. Anne's. April the 2nd, I attended with some members of council for the public session directed by Stantec about the municipal planning, and it was a public meeting on the 2 documents that we are proposing. There was a lot of feedback, and I think we have that. We will make some revisions and then have another public meeting in the near future. On April the 8th, I attended to a meeting of the special meeting of councils for the operating budget for 26-27. We'll look at it this evening. It was a good exercise, and I want to congratulate everybody who put a lot of work into it. It went well. That is my report. Any questions or comments? No. If not, that concludes item 7. We are at 8, official statements from members of council. Does anybody have any word to say? No. So we are at 9, the correspondence. Honorable Fred Tilley, Minister of Public Works.
Your letter dated February 27th, 2026, regarding roadside brush cutting practices within the municipality of Clare. As Minister of the Department of Public Works, I am pleased to respond. The Department of Public Works carries out brush cutting to maintain safe sight lines, protect roadside infrastructure, and support effective drainage. This work is completing using established standards that define the width and extent of clearing required along provincial roadways. While these practices are necessary for safety and maintenance purposes, I understand the concerns raised by council and residents regarding the appearance of some areas following brush cutting. The Department of Public Works staff are aware that vegetation management can have a noticeable impact on their surrounding landscape, particularly in rural communities such as Clare. Crews are expected to apply these standards in a manner that reflects local conditions where possible, and we will continue to monitor operations in the area to ensure work is being carried out appropriately. Feedback such as yours is shared with field staff to support consistency and awareness as work progresses. Thank you once again for bringing this matter forward. Should you wish to discuss this further, Pamela Melman-Shand, Area Manager for Shelburne, Yarmouth, and the District of Clare, would be available to speak with you regarding vegetation management practices in your area. Yours sincerely, Fred Tilley, Minister of Public Works.
Any questions or comments on this reply? If not, we are at 9.2. Mary Surratt, the Director General of the Yarmouth Hospital Foundation.
On behalf of the Yarmouth Hospital Foundation, we would like to extend our heartfelt thanks to the municipality of Clare for being a $5,000 platinum sponsor of the 2026 We Care Radiothon. Because of partners like you, this milestone 10th Radiothon was an incredible success. Your sponsorship not only helped make this event possible, but also inspired our community to come together and give. Even after we went off the air, donations for the We Care Radiothon kept arriving. We are so pleased to tell you over $148,000 has been raised towards the purchase of a new automated tablet packager for pharmacy services, ensuring uninterrupted medication distribution for patients in Yarmouth, Digby, and Shelburne hospitals. We could not do this important work without people like you. Thank you again for your generosity and commitment to local healthcare. We look forward to continuing this partnership in the years ahead. With sincere appreciation, Mary Surratt, Managing Director, and Heather Fleck, Development Officer.
Questions or comments on this one? No. So we are at item 10, the presentation of the operating budget for 26-27 and corresponding motions. Thank you. As the warden mentioned in his report, the council already met to examine the budget in detail. So my presentation this evening will be an overview of the budget with different sections of the budget and some key elements. So I have the pleasure of presenting a balanced budget for the fiscal year 26-27 of $15,409,355. That is with no increase for the residential and commercial taxes of the municipality. So if we start on page 2, you will see that our next taxable assessment have increased this year. If you are looking at the column on the right, our net taxable assessment for residential properties is at $736 million compared to $627 million the year before. So you will also see for the properties that are a resource, the net taxable assessment has increased to $58,433,200 compared to $56,346,200 the year before. So for the commercial property, we have a small increase there for a total of $74,736,100 compared to about $73,393,000 last year. So this gives us a total evaluation, total assessment for 26-27 of $869,690,900. Below that, you will see on the present rates for the fire services, for the 5, 6, and 5 cents and 6 cents what it generates in revenue. So for 5 cents, the equipment and capital purchases, the 5 cents will bring a total of $434,845. The 6 cents, which is for the purchase of new trucks to replace the existing trucks, will bring 521,815. So the total is 956,660 for the total fire rate. If we apply our impositions at these amounts, we are looking at a total revenue for taxes for 26-27 of $10,336,382, which represents an increase of $592,946 compared to last year. From there, if we go to page 3,
If we look here at the revenues from taxes, essentially, it reflects what I just discussed. If you look in the 26-27, the total for the taxes of residential properties and resource and commercial, what it gives to the whole municipality. For forests, those for 50,000 acres or more, they are taxed at 25 cents, and this would represent 24,121 for people. Tax forestry property taxes, which will give us 7,352. Further down, you will see that our area rates for streetlights total the 33,686. As you will see, it will come further in the as part of our expenses for private road maintenance bylaw, which we have with the Association of Bâtiments. So the total for the municipality of Clare in revenue taxation, 11,364,520. Further down on the page, you have business property. We're talking about how much what we receive from Nova Scotia Power and the rebate. We receive 63,726. Further down, we had met 83,499. It's the difference is the HN3 rebate we acquired last year. Under taxes, we're budgeting 335,000 in deed transfer tax. Last year we had collected 315,000. This is money that the municipality receives when properties are sold in the municipality of Clare. The other taxes, the sewer, 543,273. The for 26-27, the total collected would be 11,971,519 compared to 11,287,362 for the previous year. Then we have grants in lieu of taxes. This is essentially federal and provincial buildings in the municipality of Clare. Well, rather than we have pay taxes, we get a grant from the province. These are amounts that are confirmed, and the one that we will receive under this agreement is 207,277. It's a small increase compared to last year. On page 4 again in the revenue section, at the beginning, on the top of the page, we are planning, we're a budget of 440 in the landfill tipping fees. It's quite a conservative estimate. Last year we had received 470,000. What is new this year? Extended producer responsibility. We think we can pickup money of 305,000 this year. This is a system that enters in, became a run from December to March, and that amount we had collected 178,000 other revenues from our Certus building permit development. We foresee 32,000, essentially what we had collected last year for rental, and we think we will receive 314,172 for the Clare Health Center. Essentially, it's quite close to what we did last year. This year we think we'll be getting 772,636, which is our operational grant. Further down there, we budgeted a program of distribution of water, central distribution, in case we have another like we budgeted 45,000, like because of the problem we had last summer. So you will see the same amount later on in our expenses for the municipality. For revenues, we are looking at 1,903,390. Community development services, tourism with 208,972 in revenues. For recreational revenue, 40,576. For the Segia, 47,266, and finally for the Grand Fondo, $98,740. In total, the revenue from our all sources will add up to 1,903,590 compared to 1,186,696 for now.
And the last budget page is page 5 on the unconditional transfers from other government sources. Here it's what we call the municipal capacity grant, money received from the province. It's a fixed amount up to 177,375. The amount was established by the province. It is frozen for 5 years. 26-27 is the third year of that 5-year period. Under the conditional transfers from other government sources, I would like to note the $40,000 from the Acadian Affairs Office. It is financial assistance we get from the province to help us to cover costs related to the offer of services in French here in Clare. And also the Association of Community Health Centers, we receive $120,000 from that association to help again to the operating cost of our health center. The total conditional transfers, $304,593 compared to $275,722 last year. So this is all up for the revenue. If we go to page 6, then we are getting into the expenses with the general government services. And the first item that we see there is the honorarium for council to $229,676, which is essentially an increase for the honorary to reflect the consumer price index for cost of living. The amount also for the mileage to the councils and conferences, $32,000. We reduced it a bit compared to last year. Under administration, the first item there is the salaries and the mercs. The costs for the employees of the municipal office, the figure is $679,671 compared to $654,465 last year. Essentially, we have an adjustment there to indicate the increase in cost of living. And as part of the services in French, we have the simultaneous translation, 14,400 this year. We also have $7,000 for translation of documents. And for another item here that I'd like to note is our IT support. Everything that has to do with IT security, websites, Towns Week, and accounting that we use here at the university is something that goes up year after year. This year we granted $106,000 for that amount. If you look down in this column under 21294 promotional items, our lawyer in 293, we allotted $10,000 for legal costs for this year. Telephone and internet, it's a big increase there compared to last year, and the reason for that is we are planning to change the telephone system here at the municipality, so that increase will be the cost for the new telephones. So it's $25,800 compared to $10,405 last year. And under that, for our auditors, we have the amount of $42,000. And further down, 21310 water distribution program with the in and out that we mentioned earlier. The $45,000 is there. 21218 extension services, that's for the hiring of PVC to evaluate all the lands in the municipality of Clare. $279,473, and that is an increase, substantial interest compared to last year, but it is something we knew that was coming. We were told long before that there would be an increase in the costs, and it's not unique to us, it's across the province. Two other items I'd like to mention here further would be for our insurance. There is a small increase to $84,294 for administration, and grants to organizations. We budgeted $60,000 this year for our grants to organizations, for a total of general government services of $1,865,402. I would like to give the floor to the warden, who received amounts this year.
For grants to organizations this year, we have the first receivers were the CAP paid for early education. They received $10,000. The Western Woodlot Service Limited, $150. The Society VMA's Association, $2,500. The Association Soccer New in Clare, $1,580. Southwest Nova Biosphere, $500. Clare Columbus Club, $5,000. The Weymouth Waterfront Development Commission, 1928. Ukuleles, $12,562. Lakeside Cemetery Fund, $4,600. Inclusion Clare, $5,000. The Conseil des Arts de la Baie, Clare Arts Council, $1,518. The Association of the Bull Acadian, $563. There's which
Stock Car Association $500 and $4,149 for a total to date of $45,220. That's all we have so far. Thank you, Mr. Warden. We will continue on page 7 with the protection services. If you look at the top of the page, we will start with the administration of the RCMP. You will see that in the first line, RCMP costs, you have a big increase compared to last year, and that is essentially because it will represent the first full year with our 2 new members now that are now in place in Meteghan. So the cost for that is $2,090,989. And also we have $10,000 more for the prosecution services and $7,500 for DNA testing, for a total to the RCMP of $2,108,489. Bylaw enforcement, the dangerous and unsightly animal control, we allotted $35,000 for these services this year. Under that, the fire services for the municipality. So if we look at the first line, 22400, it is the general operations for our fire departments. We are looking at $347,379 for our 7 fire halls in the municipality. And under that, level 1 training, we are putting emphasis on training this year. We have an amount of $54,452 for this year for training. And further on the 22402, the new capital purchases, that is the 5 cents that I mentioned earlier. So there's a $301,358 for capital purchases, and the balance is placed elsewhere in the fire services, and the $521,815, and the line before that is for the purchase of trucks for this year. For the total for the fire services, 26-27, $1,374,037. That's a big increase compared to last year, but the main reason for that is the purchase of the fire trucks this year. Before that, the REMO, that's the Emergency Measures Organization, we have $10,000 for that this year. Another protective services, I would like to note the Clare Search and Rescue. We increased their operating amount from $5,000 to $10,000 this year, so that is well deserved. And under that, the security for seniors, we propose a contribution of $46,991 for a total to other protective services in Clare this year, $3,642,821. On the next page, page 8, the transportation services, you see that we are continuing to be a partner with the Transport de Clare with a support of $30,000 as requested by the organization. And further down, at the right, you will see sidewalk snow removal, $61,860. That's a 5-year contract that we have. Respect Resources for our sidewalks, and we are starting the year 4 of this 5-year plan. And the street lights, $383,686. That is the in and out that you have seen. We do not make money with the street lights. We only administer it, for a total transportation services of $136,866 compared to $125,710 last year.
On page 9, for the Department of Public Works, we start with the treatment of sewer. We have two employees in this department, and if you look at 24201 for these two employees is 186,947. The total for all services is 263,524 compared to 237,830. The big difference there is the increase in the salaries. So they were more qualified, so it involved a greater expenses for our three sewer services. We have there. We're talking here mostly about electric expenses, supplies and repairs, and all the testing that we do. So for Michigan, it was 74,000 this year. Church Point 50,000, and Billy Wasco 48,850. For a total of these operations of sewer treatment, it's 436,374 for our fiscal year of 26-27. So we look at page 10. This is all that has to go with our cleanup programs. Solid waste. We have community cleanup program. We still have putting $14,000 to put there to help people, help organizations who want to get money by helping us clean the roads. So we give 150,000 per kilometer. This the program again this year is full, so it is really a win-win for our organizations and also to keep the community clean. If you look, the program has already started. There's people working on it now. And when you say the transfer operation is 115,000, it's a bit higher than what we had in 25-26 because we had, when it comes to bring some to report to the Department of Environment, it's more rigorous than it used to be. So if we look at line 2430 green tipping fees, we're budgeting 440,000 for transparent bags that are sent there. And in Queens, the garbage and waste collection curbside is it's something that quite expensive. The amount is 666,791, and further down on this, the same 62441 waste check administration is our contribution to waste check this year will be 31,777. And we have the solid waste schedules, green cards, etc. Waste check gives us a certain amount for green cards to replace green cards every year, but we took that amount and add a bit more to assure us that we would have enough. We really need to replace quite a few green cards, so we added a few more funds here to anticipate that the price will go up to, and transfer salary wages and works is 232,274 for a total of 1,756,335. For we have our public works, building expansion and development. This is essentially Daniela and our building inspector. 308,827 in salaries for that department. For the conferences, the total here is 361,827. And we have also groundskeepers expenses. We hire 2 persons from May until the end of October, and also expenses and traveling for a total of $62,010 for the total of Public Works is 2,616,545.
On page 11, that's our operating expenses for the Clare Health Center. We have the first line, 25500 is the salaries and the costs. This year the total is 959,651 compared to last year at 887,499. Below that, 2511 medical supplies. We are budgeting 50,000 this year. The first year is the first year in complete since the expansion of the health center is open. So we have doctors and other professionals there. So we are looking at $50,000 there. IT support is also a big expense. It's similar to here, it's big. We are budgeting 48,500, and that is for the IT security, etc. On page 2, property insurance, the cost has almost doubled, but that's to reflect the new expansion. So we are passing from 942 last year, 9,000 to 19,133 this year. So for our operation for the Clare Health Center, $1,661,420. On page 12, our planning, municipal planning services. The planning for 2026-27, we have 36,150 for meetings. That's the exercise that we have now with Stantec to revise the municipal bylaw. And below that, we have 2 consulting engagements. That's something we include in all our budgets to regroup the services for consultants and professional development projects in there. We are looking at Upland, for example, that is doing the active transportation plan. There are others also, so we are giving ourselves a budget for that type of service. Directly below that, 25951, the accessibility. This is for the salary of our coordinator. It is a position that is shared with us with University St. Anne. We also have an amount for small projects into there and a contribution of $5,000 for a conference that we will have here in Clare this year. On page 13, Community Development Services. Our department from Community Development, the salaries for our 2 employees, $219,000, and the total for the department, $228,500. For tourism, there we are planning a total of $360,655 this year compared to $378,421 last year. So it's a bit lower this year. That's because we are on the second year of the Clare Acadian Tourism Initiative, so the cost for that project is diminishing. So we are looking at $170,000 for that this year compared to $143,321 last year. For the banners in tourism is part of our for our tourism department, and we are looking at $14,200 for the banners. For the recreation, We are planning a bit more this year, $357,000 compared to $325 last year. We have the recreation programs. We are still investing in our $65,850 for the new programs. That includes the banners for the veterans. So we have an amount for that. The lifeguards in Mavilette that is billed by the province every year, it's $13,890. We also have an amount of $7,345 for coaching grant to encourage youths who want to or who want to train to have training to become coaches and or mentors in the community. For the other expenses from the other community development services, we will make a contribution to the REN this year of $55,543 and a small increase compared to last year, and that is also to reflect the cost of living. For the total expenses for CGA, the expenses are $112,566, and for the Grand Fondo, $98,740. So the total for the community development services, we are looking at $1,213,322. On page 14, this is essentially the list of different buildings or parks or buildings that are used by the community. I will not mention them all, but the library in Meteghan, the Western Regional Library, a contribution of $64,500 for the operation costs, and that does not include the cost to maintain the building. This is only for the regional county's library. We have $10,000 for the Lighthouse Park at Cape St. Mary, $4,000 for the maintenance of ball fields, $12,000 for the Joseph and Marie de Goux Park and the wharf in Belleville's Cove, $5,500 for the Wentworth Park. For the cultural hub, we are looking at $36,964. For the Havelock Community Center, $6,500. The park in Meteghan, $5,000. And finally, for our new Veterans Center, $61,755,000. That represents our first full year in the new building. So next year we'll have a better idea of what the actual costs are, but this is a good estimate. We are also a partner when we work with different cultural organizations in the municipality and in the region. So the Historical Society, we have $5,000. For the annual contribution to the Acadian Festival, $20,000. Production Le Moulin, $3,000. Clare Curling Club, $5,000. Clare Golf, $10,000. Rails to Trails, that is doing an excellent work, $5,000. Belleville's Cove Development Commission for the trail in Belleville's Cove, $5,000. We have a small amount for the Acadian Federation of $2,000 for support projects, and the contribution to Université Sainte-Anne will be $80,000. It represents a bit more than what we give during the year, but we have projects ongoing, and money was allocated last year that is being carried forward for this year. Special project that we support also, the Yarmouth Rotary Rib Fest, $2,500 to support the Acadian Day that they do in Yarmouth every year, as well as St. Mary the Church in Church Point, $10,000. and the Société Acadienne declared $32,280 that will be spent on the second phase of the modernization of the Marc Descarbeau Hall. So the total for community development and cultural services for this year, $1,784,503. And finally, the last page, our contribution to education. It's obligatory that we must do. The amount is fixed by the province. The amount for this year is $2,537,464. And under that, you see the debenture and loan principal installments. These are principal payments that the municipality must do this year. We have 4 active loans on the go, and these represent the payments for each of those loans. So the older section of the Clare Health Center, $125,000, that's year 18 of 20, and for the expansion loan, $700,000, that's year 2 of 10 years. The loan for the fire department loan, $53,333, and this is year 13 of 15, and for the St. Bernard Fire Hall, $28,851,000, a loan of year 8 of a 20-year loan, for a total of principal of $907,184. And that's what I propose as an operating budget for the fiscal year. If the budget is approved here this evening, I want to remind the people who are listening, the budget will be available on our website and in your tax bill that you will receive later this month. You will all receive a document of 1 page, French and English, that explains how your dollars are spent here at the municipality. So you will see each department, what it represents in terms of dollars, what it represents in terms of the percentage of the total budget. So you will receive this in the mail. And if there are any questions, do not hesitate to contact either myself or the finance director or the staff here at the municipality.
Thank you. It's just it for this budget. Are there any questions or comment on this budget from members of council? No? It's a long work to do every year, but we're glad that it's done. Thank you very much for presenting this budget. So this being said, we are at 10.1, a motion to adopt the municipal tax rates. So somebody ready to present this motion? Councillor DeVoe. I move that the municipal tax rates for the municipality of the district of Clare for 2026-2027 be set as follows. $1.10 per $100 of assessment as the residential and resource tax rate. $2.13 per $100 of assessment as the commercial tax rate, and 25 cents per acre below 50,000 acres, and 40 cents per acre above 50,000 acres as the forest acreage rates. No, yes, that's what I said. So,
Foncière.
thank you, Councillor DeVoe. Seconded by Councillor Como. All those in favor? Against? Motion carried. 12.2, the motion to adopt sewer service charges. Somebody, Jose Como. I move that the municipal sewer service charges for 2026-27 be set as $220 per unit for the following: Mitigan Center, Mitigan River, Church Point, and Delaware Cove. Proposed by Councillor Como, seconded by Councillor Potier. Against 10.3, motion to adopt streetlight area rates. Councillor Cooper. I move that the 2026-2027 rates for streetlights be set as follows: Highway 1 and Petrus Road, 63 and 35. Route 1, Littlebrook and Comoville, 38.91. Highway 1, Sonyville, $56.66. Highway 1, Mitigan River, $59.83. Placid Como at Mitigan River, $75.55. Joseph Dugo and Mitigan, Highway 1, $38.81. Saint Bernard and Billy Boscove, 39 and 38. And Route 1, Mitigan, $47.08. Proposed by Councillor Cooper, seconded by Councillor Hill. Motion carried. 10.4, fire service, adoption of fire service rates. Councillor Como. I move that the 2026-2027 fire department rates be set as follows: fire protection, fire protection would be set 5 cents per $100 of assessment, and for a fire truck purchase, 6 cents per $100 of assessment. Proposed by Councillor Como, seconded by Councillor Cooper. All those in favor? Motion carried. 10.5, motion to adopt tax rebate for low-income households. Somebody wants, Deputy Warden Potier. I move that the Council for the Municipality of the District of Clare set the 2026-2027 low-income property tax exemption amount at $300 per household earning less than $30,000 per year. Propose. All those in favor? Against? Motion carried. 10.6, motion to adopt due date and interest commencement date. Councillor Hill.
I move that the due date for the payment of 2026-2027 municipal taxes be June 30th, 2026, and the interest rate be 1.5% per month, beginning on July 31st, 2026.
Proposé par Conseiller Hill.
Councillor Hill, seconded by Councillor DeVoe. All those in favor? Against? Motion carried. 10.7, motion to accept the 26-27 to accept this municipal operation budget. We got 26-27. Somebody wants to propose this for this year? Councillor Como. I move that the 2026-2027 operational budget for the municipality of the District of Clare be approved as presented on Wednesday, April 15, 2026. Proposed by Councillor Como, seconded by Councillor Como. Councillor Como. Their motion carried. So this is come to number 11, the CEO report.
Sure.
Okay.
I will try to keep this short. Just a little overview of our projects for the Veterans Center. Just a few things there. Our building was moved behind. The solar panels are active and they're live. And the certification of the Rick Hansen Foundation, we will receive the second visit from the association was held last week, and we are waiting for the final report. We are accredited by the association earlier this year, but they wanted to look at if we did some revisions, we would get a better score. So we took the time to put in their recommendations, and that's why they came last year to have the final accreditation or the evaluation. So that's what remained to be done with the building. Everything else was taken care of. For the land use bylaw, our planning strategy, we had the consultation meeting, as the warden mentioned in his report on April 2nd. The recommendations that were made at that session have been incorporated in our planning documents. The intention at the time was to proceed with the first reading of the land use bylaw for the planning at the meeting this evening, but it was clear that the feedback and the questions and comments that we received the following days after the session, there is still a need for clarification and consultation. So, discussing with the council, I communicated with Stantec to ask them, to tell them that we wanted to add another public consultation meeting to address the questions and comments that have been asked after the April 2nd session. And at the end of the day, we want to come out with a document that is the best possible for our community. The date of the next session has not been established. Once the date is established, we will go to September to circulate the documents so that the public can once again look at their documents and share their comments. The spirit here is to work together for the better of the community. Once we finished with the consultation and comments process, it's at that time that we will start the establishment of the bylaw. So we are looking at 3 stages. The first reading consists of placing the item on an agenda for a council meeting and have a motion from the council that we are doing the adoption of the first reading of the document, and we are reading the title of the bylaw to indicate that essentially we are starting the approbation process. So the most important part for me is the public hearing. That will be a session that we will have the municipality, residents of Clare and Stantec, which is more formal than the consultations we've had so far. And again, it's another opportunity for the people of the community who have questions or comments on the bylaw to come share their comments and their questions with the council. It will be part of the public dossier, and the people who want to take part in that will have to register in advance. They will be given 5 minutes to present their case or their questions and comments. Those who want to offer questions or comments who do not want to show themselves in public can send it by writing, and those comments will also be part of the public record regarding this hearing. From there, if it is necessary, there is always the possibility of having other additions or revisions to the document before proceeding to the third phase, which would be essentially a second reading of the document. Like we did with the first reading, we are adding the document as an item on a council meeting, and then the council makes a motion to essentially accept the document as it is presented. So at that point, if the motion carries, at the municipal level, the bylaw, then it will be approved by council. So from there, it has to go to the province, and ultimately, it has to be signed by the Minister of Municipal Affairs. At that point, the bylaw becomes law and is in effect in the municipality of Clare. So that is the process we will follow, the same process that we do in adopting bylaws. So all the work that has been done so far, there was a lot, but it's mostly to try to pick up the comments from the public to build the document. The part of the formal acceptance of the document is not started yet. So we might be able to start it after the public consultation, but essentially that's how the process should go ahead. For our water system in Metegan, the plans for the modernization, phase one of the modernization, are complete. It is old infrastructure that we are trying to modernize. We want to convert the plant from a system of geotube to a dewatering system. Specifically, the project, I will say this in English.
Le système va, le projet va essentiellement
The project will include
system with a new mechanical sludge dewatering system, the construction of a single-level building situated on the existing geotube concrete pad to house the dewatering system and truck bay, the installation of a new polymer system and hot water tank within the new building, the completion of all required piping and electrical controls, wiring associated with the new equipment and building, finally, the preparation of drawings to a level suitable for regulatory permitting.
Essentially, this modernization of the system will allow our system to be more efficient, and will also increase the capacity that it can. From the EXP did their analysis, and they made a recommendation to us for the dewatering system might be the best for our plant. And I think tomorrow there will be a mobile unit at our plant in Metegan with a system of dewatering system to try it out for about 10 days to see how it performs on site, and if it's more or less what ESB, if it's what the ESB is recommending. So that project is going ahead well. After we confirm this, from there on, we can proceed with buying the equipment necessary, and we'll have work done on the site itself. For our active transportation, we met with Upland on April 9th. Myself, Rian, and Francis Robichaud, and we had feedback from members of council regarding the draft. It was a very good meeting. Upland is now planning a public meeting to share the plan and obtain feedback from the public. We have not yet have a confirmation of the date and how it will be carried out, but this is being discussed now. I think we mentioned earlier that this, when this is complete, the final plan will be revised, and this will include also an implementation plan, the costing that will be involved in the plan, and also what sources of financing will be obtained. So we hope to finish it by the end of the month of May. For a Clare Acadian Tourism Initiative 2026-27, there's an update on this. Our interpretative panels in Groscock that Denise Saunier designed. She presented two concepts for parking on the Bonneuf Wharf Road. There are interpretive scripts that were developed and a concept design to have interpretive panels that will be set up on the that place, and it's something that I can present to you next meeting. The 31st of May, there we finalize the activities of the Clam Festival with the organizational committee. This will be held in June, and people met with Vicky DeVoe and Cleveland Como from the tiny village as mentors to develop new products, new experiences for tourism. And the Clam Festival will last for a whole week from the 8th to the 14th of June. We're looking to celebrate the tradition of digging clams in the municipality of Clare. And there will be experiences, competitions, clam digging. There will be tours of innovative fishery in Sebernor, a community clam boil, and a special in local restaurants from clam-related meals, and also all kinds of outdoor activities for people. You can look on our tourism site baseheadmuddy.com to see more details. You will probably see that there will be we want to do a bit of 4 videos, 4 new videos for new experiences for the Clam Festival, and a series of plein air paintings in 2 sessions. This is an activity of the Arts Council, and there's Maribel. It was a walking tour in the Tibois that will be animated by Vicky DeVoe. And there was a new festival, a comedy festival. People are working on this with different pieces that will be held on the 30th and 31st of October. For our new building here, and also the washrooms at Joseph Marie Dugas. The contractors have started again. Both of these projects are not going ahead too fast, but they are going ahead. So we are insisting that it's important to finish these 2 projects. We hope it will be finished. They will be finished soon. For what's with the project, the Malta Holdings for housing. It is the 9th house has been installed in Little Brook. This one is already occupied or is rented. This represents the first house that is part of the second phase of the project. There will eventually be 12 new houses at Little Brook, to bring a total of 20 houses at the end of this year. The renovations here in our basement, our multi-purpose room, where recreation people are working. The renovations are now complete. The new coordinator started at 7 of April. It's a nice space. They did a good job. And also a fire services Remo coordinator has now moved. He's got an office here in the basement that there was had been used previously by the recreation director. Finally, regarding our finances, on 31st March, the municipality has a surplus of $14,597,116 in revenues versus $13,687,729 in expenses, for a surplus of $903,387. I think I have the wrong number. The real surplus is around 909 at the end of the year, 909,000. As of March 31st, 2026, the municipality had a balance of $1,526,012 in its operating fund, $943,890 in its capital fund, and a total reserve balance of $3,239,539. This last amount is broken down as operating reserve, $2,521,284. Capital reserve, $107,453. Landfill closure reserve, $388,174, and the gas tax reserve, $222,628. So, for what our capital budget for 26-27 is going ahead very well, and we can present that to you next month. And that's the end of my report. Thank you for your good report.
Any questions or comments? It's nice to see that everything works well. So we are at item 12.1, Southwest Biosphere. Councillor DeVoe, thank you. We had a meeting on March 18th. We spoke a bit. We are still purchasing some land that we want to protect, or protect either from animals or plants that are rare that we want to protect. So we are applying for monies, and if we get money, we buy the land and we give the land to other organizations, for Ducks Unlimited, for example, because we cannot keep the land. You want the land to belong to someone else, so we purchase the land and we give it to other groups. For the planting of trees, I spoke for a while that we were going to plant a billion trees, but it didn't make sense. So what we are calling it now is, that means, of course, that it will all be forests, and we will continue to plant trees. So I think that is more doable than planting 1 million trees. So that is working well. We are planting different types of trees in different areas in our district. We are looking at planting, if somebody is interested, in the Clare area. So it's just to approach Southwest Nova Biosphere region, and we can have a piece of land where we plant trees. It doesn't cost anything to the person who owns the land. We are paying for the trees and we plant them. So it doesn't cost anything. So if anybody is interested in having trees planted on their land, we are able to plant some. The department with Southwest Nova Biosphere, we are making a study on the lakes in different regions, so the late skimmers, the bombers who bring water to fires, they cannot skim any lake. The lake must be investigated to make sure that it is areas where the planes can skim and pick up water to dump on fires. So with our committee, we are looking at lakes in different regions, that includes Clare, to have bombers who can skim and pick up water to go dump it on forest fires if there are some. We hope not, but it is a project that we are working on now. Because of cutbacks from the province, it affected a lot of the regions that we have. We lost a lot of money, but we have to do with a lot less than we had before. But it will go forward. We don't have any choice. We'll go ahead. We'll find money somewhere else, and if there is not, we will go with what we have. And another thing, if anybody is interested in the biosphere region, we have a nice website. So anybody who is interested, I encourage you to go check our website. And these are the projects that we are working on and all the work that we are doing. In the last 5 years, maybe, we increased our work. It's enormous what we do. It's not very well known, but we want the people to go see our website. Thank you. Thank you for the report. Any questions or comments on this? It's clear. So we are at item 13, 13.1. Motion to award a tender of retaining wall for Ballywos Cove. This will be part of the capital budget from the municipality for 26-27. It'll be in the budget that I will present next month, but because of the urgency of this question here at the retaining wall for Ballywos Cove, with the approval of the council, we proceeded with a tender call to get the work done earlier rather than later. And when we talk about the retaining wall, we are talking about the section of the harbor between the breakwater and where the farmers market is. They have the buildings with Gary Terrio, and the retaining wall goes up to the breakwater. The wall that as you know, it's very old. And if you look at the wall, it is leaning and falling in the harbor. So something has to be done. We had an engineer here to look at the situation, and he told us that it is something that if it is not done right away, we cannot wait more than a year. And he was convinced that at a certain point the wall will fall, and then we will have a lot more problems. So as you know, with the approval of the committee, of the council, we had a tender call to do the necessary work to repair the retaining wall. So the closing date for the tender call was April 9th, 2026 at 2 o'clock. We received a total of 5 tenders, all local communities with which we have worked. And after evaluation of these submissions, it is my recommendation and the recommendation of the Public Works that we accept the tender from B&J Lombard, which was the lowest, but the company has a lot of experience with this. And the amount for the tender is $54,700 plus HST. And if the motion is done here tonight, the group will be able to start the work next month, which is a good thing also. They have made our breakwater a couple of years ago, and the rocks that they used for the breakwater, they have access to these same rocks to do this work. So because of the urgency of the situation, the wall could last a year or two, but my preference is why take the chance? So it would be to proceed with the works as soon as possible. And we have a reputable company that knows this type of work, who is giving us a good price and who can start next month. So my recommendation is that we accept the tender of B&G Lombard of $50,000, $700 plus HST. Questions on this motion? Does anybody wish to make the motion? Councillor Cooper. I move that the Council for the Municipality of the District of Clare award tender for the repairs to the retaining wall in Bellevue to B&G Lombard Limited in the amount of $54,700 plus HST, and that these funds be taken from the municipality's capital reserve. Moved by Councillor Cooper, seconded by Councillor Hill. All those in favor? Against? Motion is carried. So we are at 13.2.
Motion to name representatives on the EDIA committee. On our committee are equity, diversity, inclusion, and there are 3 persons or 3 people on community members. They are presently empty. This being said, the committee met on March 19th, and during this meeting it was essentially to the recommendations. They agreed to recommend the appointment of Sarah Nemmer Gonzalez and Jonathan Dugshire to the EDIA committee. So, as is the case for other representatives and other community, we need a motion by council to approve this. So now that the recommendation has already been done by the EDIA committee, I think I recommend that I would ask you to do an official motion this evening to hold these 2 persons, Sarah and Jonathan, on this committee. Questions or comments on this item? Nobody ready to do the motion?
Municipality of the District of Clare appoint Sarah Neymar Gonzalez and Jonathan Dukeshire to the EDIA committee.
Proposed by Councillor Hill, seconded by Councillor Cooper. All those in favor? Against? Motion carried. This brings us to number 14, the closed session. We have 1 item, personal matters. Before we ask for a motion, the date and at our next meeting will be May 20, 2026, May 20th. May 20th, 2026 at 7 o'clock. There we need a motion to go in closed session proposed by Conseiller Como, seconded by Councillor Como. Motion carried. Good evening.